the Maryland Terrapins prepare to take on the number 15 ranked Michigan State Spartans. It's Big Ten Gymnastics on Big Ten Plus. Hello and welcome in here, everyone. That's Abby Larson. I'm Regan Holgate. We'll have Mara McKenzie on the floor all night for us tonight. But Abby, let's start with these two teams. They're coming in both looking for that conference win. And for the Maryland Terrapins, we've seen a lot of inconsistencies already this season, but someone they're going to be looking at to put up those big numbers tonight is senior Audrey Barber. But as of about less than an hour ago, the MSU program announced that head coach Susie Merchant will be out of today's game as she's following the COVID health and safety protocols. But the show must go on, so Associate Head Coach Dean Lockwood will be stepping in for today's game.
But one thing I do want to touch on is a narrative we've already heard a lot about for the Spartans this season, and that's turnovers. In their 73-52 win against Butler on Wednesday, they still had 20 turnovers, which garnered the Bulldogs 17 points. And we saw the same thing last week against Kansas, where they lost 16 points off of 16 turnovers. And let's just take a walk around. He has titles upon titles, trophies upon trophies that you will see here. 2,000 NCAA national champions. He has 10 regular Big Ten championships to his name, 6 Big Ten tournament titles, 8 Final Four appearances.
Matilda Eck has been a name that we've heard a lot of this season, and for good reason. She had a career game against Ohio State with 27 points, and she just hit that buzzer beater 3 to give the Spartans leading in this game. One fun thing about today is that her mother Anna is visiting all the way from Sweden. Eck has said that she wants to put on a good performance today because this is the first time her mother has watched her play since last April. The women's basketball team has been on quite that hot streak lately. A huge win on the road against Penn State, and this past weekend, another big victory at Rutgers, 61-45. They'll travel back home this week as they prepare to host the 17th ranked Maryland Terrapins on Thursday at 6 p.m. in the Breslin Center. Can they keep the 4-game win streak alive? We will just have to wait and see.
I think Rosen really just wants to finish out this season strong. You know, he said, they're fatigued this season. They're traveling a lot more than they're used to because of COVID last season, and I think it's just a bit of a different dynamic now, and they're all tired. They've had injuries, they've had sicknesses. He even talked about in his weekly Rosen recap that they have a flu bug going around.
Coach Andy actually told us that he runs it every year.
He does.
It's the one time a year that he'll run, but he does it for Mitch.
He does. Coach Bronkema, that's a perfect example of the kind of guy he is. He comes to Rockford, supports the run, brings the team.
Michigan and Michigan State. Need we say anything else?
I don't think so. Nope. See everyone next week. We can say a little more. We've got full highlights of the basketball game from Saturday and player reactions on the show today.
And we've got highlights from gymnastics and tennis. But first, on Saturday, it was maize and blue versus the green and white.
Maybe one of the best college rivalries in all of sports. Michigan coming in with a 3-game win streak and MSU coming off a 1-point loss to Illinois on the road.
And fans were waiting outside of Breslin as early as 6:30 in the morning. And keep in mind, temps were in the single digits at that time.
Yeah, no thank you. I'll come a little bit later and when it's warm.
Last year, it was just cardboard cutouts in the stands, but this year, a sellout crowd.
And I'm not sure I've ever heard Breslin that loud before, and there was good reason for it as well.
But just, icing on top of the cake, Tom this week also when they were at Butler, that was his 900th career game that he's coached. It's safe to say that these two are legends here at the Breslin Center. Marcus, it just looks like you're having fun out there. It looks like the team's finally gelling. What do you think the difference is between last season versus this season?
We had a real summer.
Part of this has to do with the young talent that they rely on in Matilda Eck and Dee Dee Hageman. You really start to see the fatigue in these freshmen as they push past that 30-minute mark. But everything is working right now for Michigan State. We have 10 more minutes to go in this one, so we'll have to see if the Spartans can dig deep here and finish it off on their home court. Sean, this past weekend was a big one for the Michigan State football team. A top 10 matchup between the Spartans and the Wolverines, and it did not disappoint. It was the first time in 57 years that both Michigan State and Michigan have come into this rivalry matchup undefeated.
And you travel to the Bahamas next week. What's the mindset going in there? Completely different atmosphere, and that'll be a fun time for you guys. But obviously, it's still about basketball.
Yeah, win. That's the whole mindset.
And you've obviously seen Max excel this season, already only a few games in, and everyone's talking about him. What does it mean for you to see him, just succeed at a level like this?
I mean, I'm very proud of him.
And Kathy George has talked a lot about Biamba and just how she's finally coming into her own. It took a few matches for her to get there, but she's finally understanding this Spartan system and she's gaining a lot of confidence on net, and you can see that right there. Just a lot of fun to watch both of these two teams battle it out, but obviously it ends with a Wolverine win.
In other news, Michigan State's head volleyball coach, Kathy George, has announced her retirement from the program. After 17 seasons with the Spartans, she is moving on to other things, giving her more time to focus on her family. But she has said even though she's leaving the green and white, she will always be a Spartan at heart. And you know, in our business, the last story in a show is called The Kicker. And your punter was our kicker.
Hey, pretty good one at that, too.
Right, very good at that.
But the most important person, Regan Holgate, the outstanding senior.
Regan, you're amazing. You've impressed me every step of the way. We've challenged you, we've pushed you, and you always rise to the occasion. I can't wait to see where your career takes you.
You say yes, and it shows. You'll tackle any story we put you on. You'll direct if needed. You'll mentor students, and it just speaks to who you are.
Yeah, Regan, we couldn't be more proud. You know, ever since that you did that story in Journey 403 that won a national award, we knew there were great things on the horizon for you, and this just shows how hard you've worked, and you've come this far, and certainly you deserve this outstanding senior recognition.
Michigan State takes this one home here in East Lansing. First conference win of the season. I'm Regan Holgate. From everyone here at BTN Plus, thanks for watching. Have a great night.